Everyone, Johnny here. Don't speak news. News we're not supposed to speak about. And we'll get to that in a minute. But to start with, this just popped up on my screen. At 4:45 a.m. Friday, over 100 million of Bitcoin short positions got liquidated in an hour. And the article goes on to say that it may reflect broader market instability across the board, meaning also the stock markets. So let's take a look and see what they're doing at the moment. On CNBC is showing that, yes, all the markets for the most part are down. They're all in the red, not by huge amounts, but they're nonetheless all down. And on the crypto side of things, they are also all down, but Bitcoin is still holding at 98,000. But these short positions apparently got wiped out. So let's take a look. According to CoinGlass, from about 3:45 a.m. Eastern Time to about 4:45 a.m. East Coast Time this morning, a total of 100 million in Bitcoin short positions were liquidated across various exchanges. To many people, I am told this looks like a classic squeeze setup. Short liquidations often trigger cascading buys as positions get forced closed, creating a domino effect. Watch for potential price whiplash, though. These events can reverse just as quickly as they start. So the amount of wrecked trades, which is what they call it in the crypto world, it's a short term for the word wrecked. They skyrocketed, as seen in the listing screenshot right here. You can see all those short positions are in the red. So wrecked is a slang term used in cryptocurrency to describe a significant financial loss. It's often used humorously, but it can also be a reminder of the risks of trading. So how is wrecked used in crypto? Well, a trader might be wrecked if they lose money due to a bad market call or unexpected price change. A trader might be wrecked if they invest in a cryptocurrency that loses value, and so on. I think you get the point. I'll let you read the rest on your own. So, wow. I had heard rumors that there was going to be a huge shift in Bitcoin and crypto a few days ago, but it was just rumors. So I really didn't report on it, and here it is today. At least some of it's coming to pass, at least on these short positions in Bitcoin. But as you can see, overall, it's still up close to 100,000 at 98,000, just over 98,000 right now. So like Hal says here at the bottom of his article, I agree with him, and I will second this statement that I have zero knowledge of crypto markets or how they operate. I'm not a licensed financial expert, and you should consult with a licensed financial expert before making any financial or investment decisions. So I'm just reporting the news as it's happening right now. And that's the fact that these short positions on Bitcoin got wiped, got wrecked, I guess is the proper term, right? So if we look at the stock markets again, they're all in the red, but only by about 400. They're saying it's due to weaker than expected consumer sentiment and United Health decline. But the markets are the markets. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They're not really based in reality anymore. So since this popped up on the screen, I figured we'd start there. Now, moving on to other news. We have news in Israel. As yesterday this came about, 3 buses explode in suspected terror attack near Tel Aviv, according to Israeli police. 3 buses exploded near Tel Aviv on Thursday in what Israeli police are calling a suspected coordinated terror attack, according to the country's police spokesperson's unit. The buses where the bombs exploded were empty and in separate parking lots about 500 meters apart from each other, according to the mayor of Bat Yam, where the incident occurred. Bat Yam is on Israel's southern coast and just south of Tel Aviv. There were no injuries from the explosions. Now, as I go over to my Telegram account here, I got this from the Middle East Spectator. They say the initial assessment is that the bombs were set to explode at 0900 in the morning, but they prematurely exploded at 2100 the night before. That's what they're saying, is that somebody screwed up when they set the timers. So the author's initial thoughts, a false flag event to justify the collapse of the ceasefire and Israeli annexation of the West Bank, is what he thinks is going on here. So Israel staged this themselves, in other words, planted the bombs themselves, set them off so no one would be injured, set them off at night when the buses were parked so no one would be injured. But at the same time, then they can blame Hamas or they can blame whoever, whatever group they want to blame. And then, of course, the ceasefire could end in Gaza. So like it says here, false flag until someone claims it. Neither Hamas nor Hezbollah has any interest in collapsing the ceasefire. But you know who does? Netanyahu. Indeed, he does. So because his people want him to continue the war, they want him to finish off Hamas. I just read about that this morning. So Rubio now is calls for pure evil Hamas to be eradicated. And he's not the only one in the U.S. government calling for this. Writing on X before the news broke that Hamas did not return the body of Sharif Bibas, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio calls for Hamas to be eradicated. He says on October 7th, 2023, terrorists in Gaza abducted a mother, her child, her infant son, and an 83-year-old man and murdered them, he says. More than 500 days later, Hamas returned them to Israel in coffins. We extend our deepest sympathies to the victims' families who have suffered the unimaginable. He said Hamas is pure evil and must be eradicated. All hostages must come home now. And to go along with that, the U.S. hostage envoy in Israel, he warns Hamas over horrific decision to send anonymous body to Israel. Apparently, one of the bodies they sent back wasn't the right one. A top U.S. official issues a stark warning for Hamas after the Israeli military said the terror group released an anonymous body and not that of an Israeli hostage. Speaking to CNN, Adam Bowler, who serves as the United States envoy for hostages, called the Hamas decision to release the unidentified body horrific and a clear violation of the ceasefire, halting fighting in the Gaza Strip. If I were them, I would release everybody or they're going to face total annihilation. Now, just like Trump said. He said that if all the hostages weren't released as of last Saturday at noon, that they were going to face total annihilation, but that was put off, postponed. And now it looks like because of this, it's back on the table. Bowler also says that Israel gave advance notice to senior U.S. officials that the remains were not of Cherie Bibas, and that the forensic evidence determined that her sons Ariel and Kiefer were murdered in November 2023 by terrorists. He said, I don't know what Hamas thought when they put the body of somebody else in a coffin and said that it was the mother of two kids who had been brutally murdered. Whether they thought Israel wouldn't find that out or not, but it's absolutely stunning, he says. And there you go. So another U.S. hostage envoy saying that this decision by Hamas was horrific, and Rubio calling for them, of course, to be eradicated. And then now we have Palestinians lying in the streets to cheer as the bodies of dead babies are paraded through the streets. So on Thursday morning, Hamas terrorists released the bodies of the 4 Israeli hostages, including 2 murdered babies that we just talked about. But of course, the mother was not among them. They're saying that that was a fake body, that just was some anonymous body they put in there. But the body of Kafir Bibas, the youngest hostage taken at just 9 months old, was paraded through the streets to celebratory music along with the bodies of his brother, Ariel, only 4 when he was kidnapped, and their mother, Cherie, 33. The body of Oded Lifshitz, 84, was also released. Israel's X account shared the following about Oded, saying, we're heartbroken to announce that the body of Oded has been identified. And so, as far as the Palestinians celebrating in the streets, I don't know, that might be a little bit of a stretch. I had a tweet pulled up here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hang on one second. Here it is. It's on the actual article I was reading. I just had to scroll down a little bit. But you can hear celebratory music or music playing, but I don't see anybody cheering and celebrating in the crowd. So we'll check it out together. It just looks like people standing there in the wind and the rain. I agree, the music's inappropriate. Having a crowd gathered to exchange bodies probably isn't appropriate either. Very distasteful. But I didn't see people celebrating and cheering in the crowd myself. But nonetheless, I'll leave the link up so you guys can look at all of this for yourselves, as always. Now, moving from Israel and the Middle East over to Russia and Ukraine. The Kremlin responds to reports of plans for Western troops in Ukraine, which the remaining members of NATO, which I don't know if the U.S. is really a member of NATO anymore, but anyway, this is what they've been talking about, stationing military peacekeepers, they're saying, like 30,000 they want to deploy into Ukraine. Russia's saying, not so fast. Moscow is concerned. When they say any stationing of militaries from NATO countries would be unacceptable, according to spokesman Dmitry Peskov. Moscow is concerned by reports that NATO member states are considering deploying troops to Ukraine, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, reiterating that such a scenario would be unacceptable to Russia. So on Wednesday, the Telegraph and Bloomberg cited anonymous Western officials as saying that the UK and France were preparing to present U.S. President Trump with plans for the establishment of a reassurance force for Ukraine, should Kiev and Moscow agree to a peace deal. Well, first of all, anyone that's honest understands that NATO started this war by all their expansion after 1990. And Trump is talking about pulling all U.S. troops out of the countries that were put into NATO after 1990. And so this reassurance force would definitely not get U.S. approval, which they're going to need for it to happen. So it's just more rhetoric, in my opinion. But Peskov went on to say that this is a very important topic to us. He noted that the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, had stressed on Tuesday that the presence of armed forces from NATO countries in Ukraine is completely unacceptable to us. The remark followed high-level Russia-U.S. talks in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where the two nations agreed to work toward normalizing bilateral relations. Yes, they reestablished diplomatic relations, as a matter of fact. Officially. And they agreed to stop, kicking each other's diplomats out of the countries, respective countries, saying that it really doesn't do much good in the long run. And pretty soon, all they're going to have are cleaning people left in the buildings. So, according to the Telegraph and Bloomberg, the Anglo-French plan would involve around 30,000 troops being stationed in key Ukrainian cities and ports, as well as nuclear power plants. The scheme purportedly envisions equipping with the contingent with surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft, as well as patrol vessels, and to monitor a potential peace agreement between Kiev and Moscow, with the U.S. providing air cover in case of escalation. In an article for the Telegraph on Sunday, Starmer proclaimed that the UK is ready to play a leading role in accelerating work on security guarantees for Ukraine, including by putting our own troops on the ground if necessary. Well, they've already been there. Special forces from the U.S. and the UK, France, they've all been in and out of Ukraine ever since this began, helping Ukraine with intelligence and targeting and so on. But once again, I'll let you read the rest on your own. I'm just kind of giving an overview of the things that I'm seeing here, the stuff that's jumping out to me. So, and this one here, Ukrainian lawmaker confirms that the U.S. halted weapon deliveries to Ukraine, and the reason they say is unclear. So, and this was breaking news when it came out. It's not anymore. This was late yesterday. Ukrainian lawmaker Roman Kostenko, who works as the secretary of the Verkhovna Rada Committee on National Security, Defense, and Intelligence, told reporters on Thursday that U.S. weapons sales and deliveries have been halted. Kostenko made the announcement during a press roundtable on Thursday that was later posted on YouTube. According to Kostenko, deliveries of the weapons that were going to be sold have stopped. Those companies that were supposed to transfer these weapons here are now waiting because there's no decision. And so, and they're dumbfounded. They don't know why. Well, I'll tell you why. I put this up late yesterday as well from guest post writer Andrew Korobiko. Zelensky's political future is shaky amidst his vicious rift with Trump. So you wonder why your weapons are getting cut off? Well, Zelensky needs to shut his pie hole, apparently, getting himself in trouble. And now the weapons have been cut off. It says here, Trump has been on the warpath since the inauguration and is politically neutralizing all of his enemies at home. So Zelensky should have known better than to become Trump's newest enemy abroad and risk his wrath. Based on Trump's history, he should have just kept his mouth shut and been grateful for what they have received, and then kissed up a little more so he'd receive more, right? You would think that would be the case. But Zelensky's just a puppet, and he's a cocaine-fueled puppet, and they don't always think very well. They don't think very clearly. So Trump came out swinging against Zelensky in a social media post on Wednesday where he accused him of being an unpopular dictator who doesn't want elections manipulating America into a war that couldn't be won, and possibly having stolen tens of billions of dollars worth of aid from it since 2022. Well, of course they have. All kinds of American weapons have ended up on the black markets and in the hands of the cartels in Mexico, for example, because half the stuff we send them ends up on the black market. Maybe over half, who knows? But this follows Zelensky accusing him of spewing Russian disinformation. Yeah, you shouldn't have said that. Now your weapons are cut off. After Trump earlier claimed that the Ukrainian leader's approval rating was just 4% when explaining why he won't hold elections. Well, of course he wouldn't be reelected. That's a given. So tension between these two have been brewing for quite a while already. It can be traced back to how the Democrats exploited one of their phone calls from Trump's first term as the pretext for impeaching him. Trump had called Zelensky to inquire about evidence that his government might have been in possession of proving the Biden family's alleged corruption in Ukraine. Yeah, that Biden now pardoned them all for. Well, that experience left Trump with a very poor but lasting impression of Ukraine in general and Zelensky in particular. It was gradually reinforced as the Biden administration openly allied with Zelensky throughout the course of the Ukrainian conflict, and even more rumors abounded about other corrupt deals. Credible speculation of misappropriated and even missing funds began to rile Trump, as did the obviousness of their mutual unwillingness to at least freeze hostilities with Russia. Everything became personal once Zelensky let himself be used as a campaign prop by the Democrats in Pennsylvania last September. And I'll let you read the rest on your own, but he goes through the history of Zelensky's and Trump's dislike for one another and so on, and where it's going from here. But yes, his political future is very shaky, very, very shaky. And there may be some wet work involved at some point where Zelensky gets assassinated. It's hard to say if he won't hold elections or step down, because the U.S. has done that before, as we know. So if he goes on too long, getting too lippy, they'll just take him out. So there you go. That's a roundup of all the news going on for now, all the war news anyway. Also, some financial news as the markets continue to rock and roll back and forth. Oh, now Bitcoin's back in the positive range again, back in the green. So it was mainly the shorts that got wiped out. But wow, what a time to be alive, guys. Prayed up and prepped up at all times. We don't know what's coming next. We have earthquakes in diverse places, famines, pestilences, all kinds of stuff going on. And later on today, God willing, I'll be talking to you about the no-hide laws in Trump, and we'll get back to that subject as well. But that is it for now. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com, home base for everything that we do. If you're not watching the video here, this is where I put everything. There's over 2,500 stories, videos, blogs, everything I put up here on the website, don'tspeaknews.com. We've been around for 6 years now, as of February something. I don't know, I got an email from WordPress here the other day. We've been together now, and they've been hosting this site for 6 years, since 2019. Hard to believe it's been that long already. It just went by like that. Of course, this channel started on YouTube in 2017. And after a couple of years and it was building up, it got to the point, and we started getting censored really heavily. It got to the point where I had to establish this website, don'tspeaknews.com. So we just passed our 6-year anniversary here recently. And I want to thank everybody for coming along with me on this journey. Thanks for all your prayers. Thanks for all your nice emails and comments. And of course, for your support. Without you guys, we literally don't stick around. And I just got the internet and stuff paid here the other day, thanks to your support. But thank you very much for that. If you'd like to support us, that tab is right here. Just click on that, and all the links to support us are right here. And like I said, thank you so much, because without you, you wouldn't stick around. And then if you'd like to subscribe, click on that tab, type in your email here, click on there, and there you go. You're in. This is also at the bottom of every posting that I put on don'tspeaknews.com now. And then here are the 2 emails to contact me, one at Proton Mail and one at Yahoo. And there you go. That is it for now. Prayed up and prepped up at all times, guys. Got to be ready. Head on the swivel. God bless. Take care. Johnny Storm. Don't Speak News.